At this time, I would ask you please remain standing for the singing of our national anthem. For members in uniform, Chief Brian McCullough will take the salute on behalf of all. This morning, we're fortunate to have with us Abby Mawini, niece of Deputy Brett Flynn, accompanied by her mother, Cindy.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north, strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land, glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Order, arms. Counter, march. Father center, quick, march.
Thank you, Abby. Ladies and gentlemen, you may take your seats. I would like to first this morning acknowledge and thank the family and friends of Constable Luciano DeSimone, the reason that we've gathered here this morning to honor his memory and sacrifice. Also joining us today, we have Chief Brian McCullough, Niagara Regional Police Services Board Chair Ken Genzel, Niagara Falls Mayor Jim Diodati, Niagara Falls MPP Wayne Gates, Regional Chair Jim Bradley, Service Chaplain Gerard Power, and we have a number of dignitaries with us as well seated in our audience. We have members of our Police Services Board, a number of senior officers, both sworn and civilian, Sergeant Cliff Priest, the President of the Niagara Region Police Association as well. We begin this morning by acknowledging that the land on which we gather is the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee and Anishinaabe peoples, many of whom continue to work and live here today. The territory is covered by the Upper Canada Treaties and is within the lands protected by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Agreement. Today, this gathering place is home to many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples, and acknowledging reminds us that the great standard of living we enjoy in Niagara is directly related to the resources and the friendships with the Indigenous people who make up our community. At this time, I'd like to invite Chair Mr. Ken Genzel, Chair of the Regional Municipality of Niagara Police Services Board, to the podium to offer welcoming remarks on behalf of the board. Chair?
Good morning, and thank you very much. Also to acknowledge Vice Chair William Steele is in the audience this morning. Member Tara McKendrick is in the audience this morning. Board Member Henry DeAngelo is here today, along with Member Bob Gale and Member David Eek. So that's the entire complement of the Niagara Regional Police Services Board. So good morning. It's my pleasure to be here. And our special guests and service members, family, and friends, it is a privilege to share this moment with you by honoring the everyday presence and the sacrifice of one of our officers many years ago. It is with great respect that the bridge dedications are intended to recognize police officers that have courageously and unselfishly given their lives in the line of duty to preserve our free and peaceful society. Constable Luciano DeSimone proudly served the people of the Niagara region and ultimately sacrificed his very young life at only age 24. While protecting this community, This bridge dedication honors and acknowledges his bravery and commitment to policing. Many years have passed, in fact, decades have passed, but we still remember. This recognition is long overdue, and recognizing Constable DeSimone today is very fitting, as he was certainly a courageous and selfless police officer who paid the ultimate price while protecting the community that he loved. The bridge that we dedicate to him is symbolic of many things. It is located in Niagara Falls on the Queen Elizabeth Highway, at the bridge that crosses the Welland River, and he overpasses the site where the tragic accident occurred. There are 2 lanes of traffic on the QEW in each direction, and they travel over the historic New York Central Railroad line, now operated by CP Rail, the Baden-Powell Trail, the Welland River, and the Oakwood Drive area. Also would point out, many years ago during the war, this was one of the sites that was actually guarded by the Canadian military as a strategic location. This location is a critical element in our provincial highway network and is one of Ontario's most important transportation routes in terms of trade, commuters, and tourist traffic, which we see every day on the highway. It is an honor to know that he will never be forgotten and will live forever with this bridge memorial. Constable DeSimone paid an ultimate sacrifice for having and served the public, and for that we are all very proud of. Never let them walk alone, never forget, are the respected words and guidance of law enforcement. In closing, I want to thank you for attending today's ceremony. We as a community owe it to Constable DeSimone to never forget his sacrifices. Thank you, and good morning.
Thank you, Chair. I'd now would like to invite up Mayor of Niagara Falls, Jim Diodati.
Thanks very much, Steph. On behalf of the City of Niagara Falls, I don't think it's ever too late to do the right thing. Here we are 45 years later, and we're finally acknowledging a member of the police force, but also a member of the public. And I just want to quote Robert Peel, and this is a well-known quote, but I think this would be an appropriate time for it. The police are the public, and the public are the police. It's not us and them, it's just us. And I think it's great that we could take the time to acknowledge a member of the police force who gave his life serving the public, and will have a forever testament to his sacrifice, his ultimate sacrifice, that happened 45 years ago. And as I say, it's never too late to do the right thing. So on behalf of the city, we're happy to be here to represent our interests as well as the interests of the police in acknowledging his sacrifice. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. And Member of Provincial Parliament, Wayne Gates.
Thank you and good morning. First, I'd like to thank you for allowing me to be here today and speak. It took me a few times to write a speech because it's hard to find the words to not only talk about heroes that keep our community safe, but about heroes who lose their lives in the line of duty, especially when they're so young. Looking at the life of Luciano DeSimone, he seemed like the perfect community member, the best that our city had to offer. A young man who always wanted to be a police officer, who loved to play basketball, go fishing, and ride his motorcycle. In fact, as I understand it, he looked forward to being a motorcycle officer one day. From what his friends and family have told me, Constable DeSimone was a gifted and caring officer and would have easily been able to achieve that and so much more. But unfortunately, Constable DeSimone never had that opportunity. On May 2nd, 1974, he was taken from our community at just 25. So today we gather to remember the life of Constable DeSimone and assure that his memory will never be forgotten. He may no longer be with us, but the love and care that he showed this community will live on through the stories that his friends and his family share, and now this memorial to him. It's also a message to first responders who serve today. Though we do not say it enough, we are grateful for the work you do to keep us safe. There is no amount of thanks that we can ever give and say thank you away for your time you take away from your family, holidays you miss, and the dangers you stand in front of. But I hope this memorial shows that we do care and that we'll never forget. Thank you again for allowing me to be here and share a few moving tribute this morning. Thank you.
Thank you. We are here today in large part thanks to the work that has been done to bring forward the dedication of the bridge in honor of Constable DeSimone's memory by retired Superintendent Damien Parent. I would ask him to come forward now to say a few words.
Thank you, Stephanie. Good morning, everyone. On April 22nd, 1974, I started my career with the Niagara Regional Police Service as an 18-year-old cadet in the radio room and headquarters in St. Catharines. 12 days later, on May 3rd, I reported from my day shift to learn that 24-year-old Constable Luciano DeSimone had lost his life in a tragic motor vehicle collision on the Welland River Bridge over the QEW in Niagara Falls. Constable DeSimone had been responding from Fort Erie to downtown Niagara Falls to assist on-scene police officers in quelling a large disturbance. That morning in the radio room, police brass in attendance played and replayed the communications tapes of anguished pleas of Constable DeSimone's fellow police officers asking for help as they tried to render assistance to the fatally injured officer. Those voices are something I have never forgotten and served as a stark reminder to me of the potential dangers of the career I had undertaken. They also were a stark reminder to the likes of board member Bob Gale, who was working the night of the accident in the radio room, and my wife Mila, who was also present at that time. Every time I cross that highway structure, I am reminded of the ultimate sacrifice that Constable DeSimone made. In my 35-year career with the Niagara Regional Police, I recall the deaths of 3 Ontario provincial police officers who lost their lives in tragic accidents in the Niagara region. Provincial Constables Charles Mercier, John Grogoski, and Michael Gula. These officers' ultimate sacrifices were memorialized with 3 overpasses on the QEW named in their honor pursuant to the Highway Memorials for Fallen Police Officers Act of 2002. After my retirement in 2008, I was fortunate enough to work for both provincial and federal governments, and in those capacities, I have traveled extensively in the province of Ontario. During those travels, I observed numerous structures named after fallen police officers, all of them Ontario provincial police officers. While traveling to Sudbury on business, I saw a provincial overpass named after Constable Joseph MacDonald, a murdered municipal police officer. This sparked a curiosity where I did some research and made some inquiries, finding out that these structures are named after any police officer that lost their life in service to their community. I could not think of a more fitting remembrance than to have the very bridge that Constable DeSimone gave his life serving the citizens of Niagara named after him. So in March of 2018, I started this process with the assistance of former Minister of Transportation Jeff Urick, Chief Brian McCullough, and Inspector Marco Gianico, along with the blessings of the Regional Municipality Police Services Board, the Office of MPP Wayne Gates, Mayor Jim Diodati and Niagara Falls City Council, and with the kind permission of Mr. Steve Celestini, next of kin to Constable DeSimone, we are here today on this momentous occasion. I want to thank all of the previously mentioned individuals for bringing their assistance and bringing this honor to the memory of Constable DeSimone today. He was a hero in life, not death.
Thank you. It's my pleasure now to welcome Chief Brian McCullough to the podium to offer his comments this morning.
Chair Ken Ganzel, MPP Wayne Gates, Mayor Diodati, members of the Police Services Board, Regional Chair Jim Bradley, command staff, senior officers, Chaplain Gerard Power, sworn and civilian members, retired members of the service, Senior Officers Association President Brian Ash, Niagara Region Police Association Cliff Priest, other dignitaries who I may have overlooked, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Good morning and welcome to the bridge dedication ceremony in honor of Police Constable Luciano DeSimone. I want to start off by thanking everyone who is in attendance for taking the time to be here for this important and historic event, one of dedication, honor, and remembrance. I offer my thanks for the remarks provided by Police Service Board Chair Ken Ganzel, Mayor Diodati, Provincial Member of Parliament for Niagara Falls, Wayne Gates. I also want to extend my sincere thanks to retired Niagara Regional Police Superintendent Damien Parent, not only for his heartfelt comments and personal recollections of this tragic event, but for his resolve and initiative to ensure that the memory of Constable Luciano DeSimone will never fade into history. Most importantly, I want to thank the extended family and friends of Constable Luciano DeSimone who are present here today, numbering nearly 30 members. Our hearts are certainly heavy for the loss that your family has endured. To Steve and Ann Celestini, the nephew and niece to Constable Luciano DeSimone, and the closest surviving members of his family, thank you for your support in making the bridge dedication ceremony today a reality. We are honored for you to be here with us this morning. As part of a bridge dedication nomination process, certain legislative requirements must be fulfilled in order to satisfy the Minister of Transportation for the placement of signs on a provincial highway. This process involved the submission of multiple supporting documents, including a letter of support from myself as the Chief of Police, a letter of support from Mayor Diodati and the rest of Niagara Falls City Council, a letter of support from MPP Wayne Gates, and of course a letter of support from the family of the fallen officer, which was provided by Mr. Steve Celestini. I'd be remiss if I did not thank and acknowledge the former Minister of Transportation, the Honourable Jeff Urick, for his approval of the bridge dedication and ultimately approving the sign placements on the Queen Elizabeth Highway. By way of history, Luciano DeSimone joined the Niagara Regional Police Service as a 23-year-old on August 1st, 1972. At this time, he was still residing with his parents in the town of Fort Erie. He gained the rank of police constable and was assigned to uniform patrol duties, initially working out of the St. Catharines Division and then later out of the detachment in Fort Erie. And he also had a brief stint working out of Niagara Falls. On May 2nd of 1974, while working the evening shift in Fort Erie, Constable DeSimone was dispatched to the downtown area of the city of Niagara Falls. The call was in response to police officers requesting assistance with a major. At approximately 9:08 p.m., Constable DeSimone was driving northbound on the Queen Elizabeth Highway from Fort Erie, traversing the Welland River Bridge, when his police cruiser struck the rear of a flatbed transport truck that was parked on the roadway and not visible to approaching traffic. The truck driver had stopped in order to render assistance to a motorist who moments earlier had been involved in a collision on the highway. For greater clarity, the Welland River Bridge is located on the Queen Elizabeth Highway between Lyons Creek Road interchange to the south and the McLeod Road interchange to the north in the south end of Niagara Falls. Constable DeSimone was transported by responding paramedics to the Greater Niagara General Hospital in Niagara Falls, but prior to arrival, he unfortunately succumbed to his injuries received in the crash. The Ontario Provincial Police investigated the collision, and no charges were ultimately laid in regards to the collision. Constable DeSimone was described as an incredibly kind and loving man who enjoyed spending time with his family and friends. He enjoyed playing basketball, fishing, and riding his motorcycle. He always wanted to serve as a police officer, and he looked forward, as Member of Parliament Gates already mentioned, to being a motorcycle officer one day. This promising young officer was just 24 years of age when he died, and engaged to be married. At the time of his death, Constable DeSimone was the first police officer from the newly formed Niagara Regional Police Force to die in the line of duty. In preparation for this bridge dedication ceremony, I can confirm that both Steve and Ann Celestini have advised that they remember vividly the night when their mother was informed of their uncle's death, and the entire family was in shock and in tears. Steve was 8, Ann was only 5. The parents of Constable Luciano DeSimone, Vincenzo and Ermelinda DeSimone, and his only sibling Mary, who was Steve and Ann's mother, have all since passed. However, Steve and Ann Celestini, along with their father, Sirio Celestini, have carried on the memory of Luciano, imparting his legacy to their family members as the cycle of life progresses from one generation to the next. I am honored and privileged to say that going forward from today, the Queen Elizabeth Way Highway Bridge that spans not only the Welland River but also Oakwood Drive and the entrance from Montrose Road to Baden-Powell Park will now officially be known as the Constable Luciano DeSimone Memorial Bridge. This bridge dedication serves as a memorial to the service and sacrifice of Constable DeSimone, and also serves as a reminder of all the risks that police officers face on a daily basis as they serve their communities. At this time, I'd just like to call up the family, and we'll unveil the sign. Thank you very much. That is an exact replica of the signs that you will now see as you drive past the bridge on the Queen Elizabeth Highway. Bridge is now marked with 2 signs for both the north and southbound traffic on the Queen Elizabeth Highway that will announce the Constable Luciano DeSimone Memorial Bridge and will forever stand in testament to his sacrifice. This section of highway has millions of travelers passing every year, many of who have traveled specifically to Niagara Falls from international destinations. They will give pause for thought to all that pass the signs, whether a family member, friend, or a citizen who is seeing Constable Luciano DeSimone's name for the first time. And for all of us who know the history behind the signs, we will never forget the ultimate sacrifice that Constable Luciano DeSimone paid, serving his community at this bridge on May 2nd, 1974. At this time, I'd like to also present the nephew and niece of Constable Luciano DeSimone, Steve and Ann Celestini, some mementos of this occasion that I'm sure will be a family keepsake for years to come. Before turning the ceremony over to Police Chaplain Father Gerard Power, I want to thank all of you again for attending this very important ceremony. Let us always remember all officers who have paid the ultimate sacrifice while performing their duties in ensuring the safety of our communities. And finally, again, I thank Steve Celestini Ann Celestini and their father, Sirio, and their extended family and friends that have assisted in allowing us to make this bridge dedication a very special ceremony today. I'm sure Luciano, along with Mary, Vincenzo, and Ermelinda, are together smiling down upon us and your family that is gathered here today. We will never forget Constable DeSimone's service and sacrifice. Heroes in life, not death. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Please welcome now Niagara Regional Police Service Chaplain Father Gerard Power to the podium for the benediction.
Let us bow our heads in prayer. Creator of all, you have blessed us with much beauty and many dedicated people across this great nation, across the province of Ontario, and across this region of Niagara. Throughout this country from coast to coast, many highways and bridges have been dedicated to those who have given their lives in service to this country and for the freedom and protection of its people. Bridges and highways connect people from coast to coast, bringing people together. Today, with somber hearts, yet with profound respect and love, and in the presence of his family, we honor the bravery and service of Constable Luciano DeSimone, who died in the line of duty 45 years ago. May you continue to enfold him, O Creator, in your loving arms. He was truly a hero in life, who gave his all selflessly as he served this community. His memory lives on through his family members, through his friends, and through his brothers and sisters in blue. His memory lives on through the positive impact of his service as he protected the lives of many in this communion. But his memory will live on now in a most sacred way with the dedication of the Welland River Bridge in his honor. May we never forget his sacrifice. As people cross over this bridge and see the name of Constable Luciano DeSimone, may they offer a silent prayer of gratitude and thanks to another one of our great heroes. May they offer a prayer of healing for his family. As we dedicate this bridge today to Constable DeSimone, we ask you, O Creator, to look after all those who continue to serve this country and this region. Bless and protect all our police officers as they travel over bridges and along our roads and highways, protecting our lives and upholding the laws of this country. Amen.
Thank you, Father. As we near the conclusion of our ceremony today, which has brought us all together in memory and honor of Constable DeSimone, I'd like to ask Piper Jim Baker to please join us for a performance of Amazing Grace. This brings us now to the conclusion of the formal portion of today's ceremony. Before we close, however, I would like to take this opportunity to again say thank you to the family of Constable DeSimone for joining us as we celebrate his life and honor his memory as well as his sacrifice. I ask that you please remain seated as the Chief and the family of Constable DeSimone are piped out, and refreshments will be served at the back following the conclusion of the ceremony. On behalf of the Niagara Regional Police Service, I'd like to thank you for attending and joining us here this morning. Thank you.